Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've done a tutorial video, and I felt it was probably time since I bought this 2023 Indian Pursuit Dark Horse back in, I think, April. It was, I guess, a leftover stock, got a pretty good deal on it. And I've spent tons of money like we all do, modifying it, upgrading it, and so on. And for the past week, I've had it up on my Canon portable lift because I've been making all kind of changes to it or additions to it. This has been a lot of work, but the one thing that I'm doing this video tutorial today, I've already installed most of this stuff, and I thought, you know, because I've been so busy trying to get this done, I just didn't really feel like doing a video, but I think it's kind of important because we all would really like to upgrade that crappy horn that Indian puts on their bike. It sounds like some little Japanese scooter, and I hate it. So I figured, well, I can at least kind of tell you how I did it because I think it'd be helpful for everybody. So what I ended up buying was this Denali horn. It's called the SoundBomb Split. They have another version where the compressor and the horn are combined into one unit, but you really can't fit that anywhere on the bike unless you want it to be just totally obvious. So I like the split version better, because you can put the compressor in one area and then use the air tube to connect to the horn on another area. So I'm going to show you real quickly how I did it. Now, when you buy the horn, it comes with a relay, a little square module that plugs in to a harness. So here are the instructions. That's what the harness kind of looks like right there. All right, you have this little plug-in for the relay that comes in with the horn. Okay, and then you have to buy this separate harness. It's got all that stuff right there. You can kind of see it all wound up there in these little pieces here. So you plug the relay into the ends. Real simple, just plug it in, get you some dielectric grease. But anyway, you may want to put a little bit on the end of the relay and on the tips there before you plug it into this part. Just kind of keeps it waterproof, because it's going to be in an area where rain and water can get up in there, I guess, over time. So, but anyway, here's the diagram. This end right here will plug into the compressor, which I'll show you in a minute. This part here plugs into the OEM horn. You have to clip those pieces off, and I'll show you how I did that. And this part, of course, connects to the battery. So it looks really complicated. The hard part is just to get it all in there. It's not hard to figure out. But I'm going to go ahead and show you basically what I did. Okay, so there's that little side panel or whatever, the cap that goes on the bike that normally, I guess, if you wanted to put an air breather over here, you could, but I'm never going to do that. This bike is plenty powerful. It does not need any more air intake. It doesn't need any other major modifications. The only thing I've done to the exhaust system was just add these Reinhardt DBX 4.5 pipes on it. No need to tune it or anything. I'm not messing with it. I did that on my Springfield, 2019 Springfield, and I regret it because it was so much work. But anyway, so when you take that cap off, you got this big open space here. This bracket's built in, this whole thing here. And as you can see, there's the compressor right there. And all I did was drill a hole, one hole. This bolt and this nut and this washer, I think the washer may come with it, I don't know. But the bolt and nut come with it in the kit. And it fits in this little slot on the compressor. This is all part of one unit right there. So all I had to do is drill a hole. I slipped the compressor up behind in there and bolted it on, and it's solid. It ain't moving. And then, as you can see now, there's the wiring for the wire that connects to the compressor that sends the electricity to it. I had to cut the cable because it was just too long, but like I said, they have these little blue adapter pieces or whatever that you can splice in to slip onto the positive and negative post on the compressor. Real easy. And then you just feed the wire up, okay? Goes up over the engine. I'm still gonna tie this stuff in. I'm gonna tie it up so it doesn't touch the cylinder head. And it goes down between the radiator and this the frame. And it goes down into the battery compartment right there, which you have to take completely apart, including the radiator cover. Not hard to do. It's just 4 bolts there. So anyway, then you have the air tube, which connects to the, there's a side piece up in here, but you'll see when you get it. Connect the tube to the compressor, and I ran it up through here, and I went, it's kind of hard to see, but I went through between the frame up in here in the top and kind of wrapped it around. And the problem is you can't see it since I put the radiator cover back on, but it kind of basically comes up around and then back this way to the other side of the bike. So that's how I routed the air tube. So let me show you over here. And then, as you can see, the air tube is coming up on this side, and then it's going to go down into this bracket that I built. Now, I pre-filmed how I did this bracket here. You can see the hole on top that I drilled to put the tube in there. And then I had to cut this little slot here. But I'm going to show you in another pre-filmed part that I'll add later to this video how I built this bracket. Was probably my biggest concern, is how to mount the horn, which is this part here, and it's going to slide up into here. And then they include a little bolt and a nut, but I went to the store and got something else that I'll show you too how I did it. But anyway, it's going to attach into there. And then, as you can see, the little opening for the horn where the sound comes out is just below my lower fairing speaker. On their website, I think they have a video that takes you to YouTube where they mount this, because there's a little where the screw goes inside of that groove. They have it mounted on this screw right here where the radiator fan is. But the problem is it's pointing, you know, the sound is pointing straight towards your engine. And I think that's going to reduce some of the decibels. So I like the idea of having the ports open outward. You know, my leg is going to get a great massage from the sound probably, but I've already tested this and man, it's loud. So sorry. But anyway, that's how I decided to do this. And like I said, I'll include the video clip of how I put this, or built this bracket, and how I attached it there. So here's what I came up with as far as making a custom bracket to get this horn installed on my bike. I bought one of these tie straps. It's like a Hurricane strong tie made by Simpson. You can see there, this is pretty long, but I ended up cutting right above where it says edge of notch from here. And then same thing over here, cut this out off, these ends off, because of course I don't want these holes to show. So this strip here, I bought 2 of these. I got to take this one back because I don't need it. So this metal is pretty rigid, but it's also not too hard to bend. And I basically just bent this piece here from one of those. I created this bracket and I painted it black. It's not the best craftsmanship, but I don't think anybody's really going to notice the poor cuts on there on that. But anyway, so this paint's still kind of damp. So that's what I did. And I put this hole on top, and that's for where the air hose has to go in to connect with the horn itself. And on this back side, I put this 3M VHB double-sided tape on there. And this is going to attach to the frame of the bike, which I will show you later. Again, you can see where the hose goes on that little nipple there. It'll go through that hole that I drilled in. And I used one of those cutting wheels to cut this out. By the way, this is what the bolt looks like. It comes in the kit. I did have to cut this a little bit with a hacksaw. And essentially it just slides up in here, and the way it fits in there, it grabs onto the edges of the bolt head so it can't turn. It stays in place. So whenever you go put the washer and the lock nut on there, when you attach it to the frame, the bracket that I created, this won't turn, it'll hold in place. So like I said, that harness that you buy separately, it's got to be fed all through the bike to get to each segment. You got one end has to go to the compressor, another end has to go to the battery, because you can't just splice directly into the OEM horn. There's not enough power to power that compressor. Compressor takes a lot of juice, so it needs its own direct power supply. And then you have the air tube, which goes from the compressor over to the horn. And then lastly, you have the signal line that tells when the compressor when to turn on. So whenever you hit your horn button, it sends a signal, I guess through some kind of relay built into the bike, that goes to the horn and tells the horn, and it also supplies electricity to the horn to make it go off, that little crappy horn. So in this step though, I spliced into that wiring, the OEM wiring, so that'll allow the Denali horn and the OEM horn to go off at the same time. Actually, the OEM horn goes off like a fraction of a second first until the compressor kicks in and sends the air to the horn itself, the Denali horn. Here's the front of my bike all ripped apart. I gotta put that fairing back on soon today. But you can see the horn here, the OEM horn, and there's the plug that connects to it. And this wire here, this cable I fed up through from the wiring harness, the Denali wiring harness. This is the one that connects to the horn, okay? And it's got this blue and yellow cabling inside. Now in the instructions, they have different colors listed, like red and blue or something, I don't know, but they're not these colors. So I kind of just took a guess that the blue is going to be negative and the yellow is positive. And same thing on here, you got on the OEM horn, sorry it's kind of blurry, you got black and white, so black being the negative, white being positive. So I had to cut the OEM harness cable to the OEM horn, and then I spliced the positive, the white together. I kind of twist them together, and then I did the same thing on the black, twisted them together, and I slipped them inside these little heat shrink connectors and crimped them down on one end. And then I spliced or stripped the cables on the Denali wiring harness and put them in, the yellow into the one with the white, and then the blue, which is the negative, into the black. And then I crimped those down, and then I used a heat gun to melt that plastic down so it's nice and, I guess, insulated. Hopefully water won't get down there. But anyway, it works. So that's how you do that. They also include these little posi-tap adapters or connectors, and they're designed to put the Denali wiring harness cable, one of the positive in one end, and you have another one for the negative, into the other. I got this backwards. So the way it works is, I'll just make a long story short. So one end is supposed to tap in to this one with the point into the one of the wires on the OEM horn. But the problem is those wires are so small, so thin, that the little tap would just go around it. Whenever you close this up, when you put the wire in there, it goes around the wire. It doesn't tap into the wire, so there was no connection being made. So that's why I had to do all that splicing to make sure that I had a good connection, because whenever I went to go try the horn, of course it didn't work. So these things are useless. Don't even use them, at least for the Pursuit. So again, you're going to want to do it this way. Maybe there's another way you want to do it, but this is the way I did it. As for the bolts for the horn to go onto the bracket I made, they include one bolt. I cut it down, but I can't remember how long it was, so I ended up going back to Home Depot and I got a pack of these two bolts like this. They're metric, and there's the specs on it, M6-1.0 by 20 millimeters. So you're gonna need two of those, and also you're gonna need two. I got these black washers, so it'll be black, but you want to get two of those and two of these locking washers also that fit on that bolt. So you're gonna need two of each. Okay, that's what I have so far. I'm kind of scratching up my little paint job on here, but I'm at this point I don't really care. You see how the tube goes in there. Let me find my flashlight. I'm gonna just shine up in here so you can see where it routes up through. So you'll see that point. There's an opening right there on that. You see that big bolt head up in there. It goes in that way, and then just around the other side of the frame, it'll come out the other side. So that's how I routed the air horn. I mean the air tube. Now, before you mount your horn onto the bracket, if you go this route, the way I did, you're going to need to first plug the tube in to the top of the air horn, because the nipple on there it's a very tight fit, and you can't push it down through the top of the bracket. So you need to drop the horn down some, use your fingers to pinch and force that tube into it. Then you can raise the horn back up into place after you've made the connection with the air hose. And then you put your washers and nuts onto the bolts, which slide up, and the bolt heads are sliding up into the horn. You'll see when you get it. And then I bought this kit from Amazon for these little bolt caps right here that will just slip on. Let me change my hands here. They slip on. I don't know how tight they're going to be, but kind of like really make it look better when I'm done with it. Let me grab the other one here. So I'm going to put something on there to make sure they don't come off, but for now, that's what it looks like. So kind of crazy looking, but it works. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to say. Now you can, I guess, put this bracket and make it come underneath like this, but I was thinking about doing that, but the thing is you can't, it kind of bumps into things to try to slide it off. So I'm only concerned right here, as long as these bolts are tight, and with the lock washer and the lock nut, they should not come off. I mean, this is on here tight, so it shouldn't slide down out of place. I can't imagine that ever happening. Maybe I may put a zip tie somewhere on there just to be safe, kind of like I did on the bracket up there. But for now, this is it. And I think it's kind of looking pretty good with the bike. It's kind of up high enough to where it won't be too noticeable. Okay, just as I was about to put the fairing back on, I thought, I'm going to test this one more time, and knowing my luck, the horn would not work this time, even though it was already working before. So I did everything backwards. I should have checked the wiring connections on the compressor first, because I had used these little cheap things that came in the box, since I cut the cable to make it shorter. Whereas before you cut it, it's got these really nice connectors. That's part of the original harness. So anyway, I ended up stripping out everything down there to check the power supply. I mean the what do you call it? Battery connectors and just all that stuff down there, and nothing worked. I went and re-spliced these, thinking maybe I did something wrong there, or maybe, I don't know, maybe they came loose, but that wasn't the case, which was another hassle. So turns out it was this piece of junk here. Those wires were just not staying inside of there. So I've ordered a kit with those shrink butt ends. I think that's what they're called. I don't know, like I did for the horn. They're coming in tomorrow from Amazon. There's a whole box of them. I actually did go to AutoZone, and they wanted for 10 of those things was like $9, and they weren't the right size anyway. So Amazon, you get like 120 of them of various sizes for $9. Actually, it's on sale for $8. But anyway, I'm kind of putting everything else back together for now, and then tomorrow, this is going to be easy to complete. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that in case you have everything working and then all of a sudden it's not working. First, check your connectors, especially if you decide to use these cheap little blue plastic ones, which I don't recommend. That could be the problem. All right, let's go do the horn. All right, that's it for this video. If you got any questions, just put them down in the comments. I'd like to answer everybody's questions. And good luck with your install if you plan to install this horns. It's definitely worth it, and the price is right too.